Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics on Friday night. It may be late, but it's never too late for some silver talk. Joined by my dear friend Andy Schectman of Miles Franklin. And Andy, welcome on in. I know it's been an interesting week. I may have some news over the weekend that we'll leave that aside for now, all that silliness, and get right to the action. Can you give us an idea of what has been going on in the physical silver market? And maybe tonight you can also explain to me what the spot price is, but why don't you start there?
Good to see you, Chris. Absolutely. Yeah. This week was a little bit of a respite of sorts. It wasn't the crazy franticness that we are so used to seeing over the last year. Business is still very, very strong, but the people that have been able to knock the price down a little bit, I think it has an effect on people's psyche. So it was a little bit slower this week. Still really very, very strong, but I guess I would take two things away from it. Number one, I noticed premiums dropped a tiny bit. And number two, we're not seeing any freeing up of inventory. It's still a massive challenge to find any product. In fact, we just ordered product from the Perth Mint, and we had to go all the way out into April, pay for it this week. And we're not going to receive that until probably second or third week in April. That's what you got to do to get supply in this market.
Well, I'm going to slip on out to the countryside. Enough of that LA time, and maybe we can get some coffee here and relax. Nice sign in the background there. You wouldn't believe how these things are spreading these days. And I know the CFTC on top of the silver manipulation all over those Reddit rascals. But Andy, what's going on with the U.S. Mint? Heard some unusual things out of there. You said they might be shutting down. I was still curious if it might have any connection to the anti-counterfeiting measures that they're putting in the gold and silver eagles in 2021, which seems a little unusual for a bunch of coins that only conspiracy theorists collect. What have you heard there?
Well, same thing, the same thing that I said last week. The rumor is that because of the new design, and I guess, that the anti-counterfeiting measure probably has something to do with it. The Royal Canadian Mint has had that micro engraving on their maple leafs for several years now. And a lot of people really like them because of that, because of all the talk of counterfeit coins coming out of the Far East. I think that could certainly be part of the reason why. But the rumor is they're shutting down in April for as long as 2 months because of this retooling. Seems excessive to me, but that was the rumor that I heard from a really good source.
Well, there's a lot of things that seem unusual in their timing, which maybe we'll dig into tomorrow night. Of course, that would only be if I made a video earlier tonight that could be glorious, full of evidence that judges might like to know about CFTC and banks, and people might be able to submit to their own lawyers. But I'm going to stay on track here, sir. Can you give us an update on the 1,000-ounce bars? We heard Rick Rule talking, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, saying now even the PSLV trust, which had been able to get silver, was now having issues. So what are you hearing there?
Same thing, 4+ weeks. I haven't even tried since earlier last week. I kind of got the feeling that it was something that was better off not bothering. I had been asking and asking and asking. Was able to place an order. I was told 4+ weeks. It's not the 4 weeks that bothers me, it's the plus. And the plus is I'm not sure what that means. And so it's kind of an open-ended question. The craziest part about it, Chris, is that normally 1,000-ounce bars are as available as anything in the precious metals universe. And the fact that it's 4+ weeks, we'll get back to you, let you know after a couple of weeks with better clarity. Same thing. They're just not available right now. It's really strange, really strange. Normally I could get $1 million worth tonight like that. Not anymore.
What is the rate? I mean, can you get like one of them? Or, I mean, if there's got like one floats in the store, what is the rate?
Sometimes they float in, but we haven't had anyone selling anything really at all. So you have to go to the primary distributors. Most of the big distributors have been out of them for a long time. So you have to go to the COMEX distributors or the COMEX depositories. They're really the only source of them. And when I go to that source, I'm told 4+ weeks, no definitive answer on delivery, minimum of $1.25 over. And on really, really large quantities, I suppose it would be a little thinner than that. But here again, I mean, you're talking almost $1 higher than I've ever sold them per ounce ever. Remember, earlier in the year, we were selling junk silver bags at $1.39 over. You never see them even in the same ballpark together.
And so you said that what you can get there tell you is $1.25 over spot.
Yes, that's correct.
And what did, let's say, back when, before all these conspiracies and the Reddit stuff happened, even 2 months ago when January, what is the regular rate?
The regular rate for those would be somewhere between 20 and 40 cents over the price of silver, depending upon the quantity and depending upon if it's a delivered price or you had to pay for delivery. So somewhere between 20 and 40 cents over is typical. A high price on one bar that you had to ship delivered would be 50 cents. But in general, let's call it 30 cents, 25 to 30 cents for my whole career would have been normal on a 1,000-ounce silver bar, which by far is the cheapest way to get it.
So 300% plus, and that's using the small end of those figures, increase in premium would be a little unusual.
Oh yeah, I mean, more so than the increase in premium is just the unavailability. That's the unusual thing. We always would joke around that, well, if the coins disappear, we can always sell 1,000-ounce bars. Not the case.
Well, hold on there, flying saucer boy, because I made a video last week about silly things like data. And I noticed that Appmex was out of 1,000-ounce bars, although I'd like to be fair and give an update. They are in stock. So Andy, I don't know, maybe if you want.
Well, look at the price. So the
why
price.
don't we try 9 of them? Oh, whoops. Oh, unfortunately, they only have 1 in stock. So Andy, if you need it, you better call. Although we're doing this live, so someone may scoop that up before you get a chance to do so. And I appreciate, even while there's clearly nothing going on except Reddit fools talking about conspiracy theories. Anyway, there's one.
Look at the premium on that, $3.49 over spot. I mean, back in the day, Silver Eagles were less than that. I mean, if we go back to December of last year, before COVID, Silver Eagles were $3.19 over spot, as many as you want. To buy a 1,000-ounce bar, in fact, they only have one, the biggest retailer in North America, and they're $3.49 over. That's exactly what everyone's been talking about. And that's the strange part about all of this, is that with all of the difficulty obtaining product, you would think the price would have reacted a little bit better. I'm sure that's what people are thinking, but the product availability is as thin as it's ever been in my career, for sure.
Well, yes, although I will re-raise you with, I think the strange part is that here I am hosting a show about silver, and I don't even, got to come clean. I don't even know what the spot price means. I was realizing how foolish I feel because, fortunately, though, you're a good friend. You've been kind and gracious. You're not raking me over the coals like JP Morgan or something. But what is, when they say the spot price, I don't quite understand. What does that mean? Can you explain that to me? And maybe in case, I don't know, there's some people new to gold and silver that don't understand the spot price. What does that mean?
Well, first of all, you got to first delineate between bid and ask. And if you look at this chart here, what they're going to show, I believe, is the bid price. You have to go up to the Kitco, up to the top to the all metals quotes there, which will show bid and ask. The bid, first of all, is when you're selling to a dealer.
Maybe I've been looking in the wrong place. That could be it. So
bid and ask. So the bid is where you sell. And a lot of the websites, for whatever reason, only list the bid. And people will say, well, I show it 10 cents lower. And I'll say, you're looking at the bid. A lot of the data feeds that go on to sites.
Conspiracy theorists, they must be.
They are. Well, they pick up the Kitco feed and they put it on like a iPhone app. And you'll see typically it's just a bid. Anyways, bid is when you're selling. Ask is when you're buying. Basically, the way that, and the reason you see a variance from company to company is the way that it works. There's a little bit of special sauce in kind of mixed into the figuring. You take the most active futures month and work backwards, a switch as it's called, to the current spot price. And it's a little bit of calculation that's different from dealer to dealer, from company to company, but only a very, very small difference in time and in the way that it's calculated. And that's why you'll see a little bit of a variance. So bottom line is you take the most active future month and work backwards on a switch to the current price, and that's how you figure it out.
Okay, that was very eloquent, and thank you. But what is the spot price? I don't understand this. Let's say I want an ounce of silver, again, I must be new to this, I,
It's
so
the
if I want an ounce of silver, how much does it cost me to buy a silver? Like I have, where here you even were kind enough to send me this beauty last week. Oh, let's go. Yeah, that bar. Sorry, it's going through my barn. Let's say somebody wants like actual silver you can hold in their hand. They don't want
$5
I
over.
want silver.
$5 over
Like
the
how
price.
much does that cost, boy?
Five
Tell me.
bucks over the price that Kitco is saying for an ask. That is minimum the real price of silver right now. Period. Minimum. And especially when you see 1,000-ounce bar at $349 over, I guess that would be your bottom basement price. If you can find 1,000-ounce bar at $3,490 over its melt value, that is the cheapest you can find it. But in a 1
Your
ounce,
Honor,
$5.
objection. Witness is not answering the question. I'm glad we're doing this one live so people can see the shenanigans I have to unravel through. But that's great. I'm interested in buying on the air. I have cash in over there. I would like to buy 1 ounce of silver. What is the rate for a physical ounce of silver?
$30. I don't know. I mean, $30.32 basically is the cheapest you're going to find it for.
Okay, so it's then you said if I want an ounce of silver, it costs $30.32. Like how much would if people want to call in? Maybe there's others who want to.
Austrian Philharmonic for $5 over spot.
5 bucks. What is spot? I don't understand. $5 over.
The most actively traded futures contract.
How much does the darn coin cost?
$30.32. If that price right there is right, let me look and see to be exactly right. But if that 25,
then what is this
32
price telling me? If you're saying people can't even get 1,000-ounce bars, what does this mean? 25.32, let's call it. But what is the purpose of this if nobody can buy silver at this price? You see, even Appmex, you said you can't get them. Appmex, they've got one. Rick Rule said he's now starting to have a hard time finding it. So I must be new to the game or something, or maybe I'm not watching the,
well, that's the point of all this.
When does the client, that could be it. Let's be fair. I'm not a Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan client, and I don't understand these things.
That's the point of all this. When does the price that they tell us an ounce of silver should be priced at? When does that just not become real anymore? So, you can't get an ounce in your pocket for under $5 over the price you see quoted right there. I'll put it to you that way.
All right. So you asked an interesting question. When does that become real again? Now, I know I've been a little bit silly here, and
you're making me earn my money tonight.
Maybe it's time for me to wrap up and go to bed, but I'm going to leave you with this one to think about, because you said maybe that spot price is a little bit silly. Now, Andy, do you know what a stop loss is?
Yes, I do.
So if anyone was long silver and they had a stop loss at perhaps $26 as a hedge, what happened to their long position on this spoof downwards?
It was sold. It got stopped out.
So basically, if somebody was short and they were nervous about, all these aliens coming to buy silver in the Reddit shops, if someone was short and if they were able to spoof it, kind of like Commissioner Chilton said, I know you're sick of watching that one. Mm-hmm. That would be one way of exiting out of their short position if you can do that and push people out of their stops, right?
Not only that, probably making a whole lot of money, but yes, absolutely.
Well, I'm sure that's definitely a conspiracy theory. Here's a trading transcript on a completely unrelated side note. Deutsche Bank. See, they didn't, I can't say I understand it. I was trained a little bit differently. I didn't work for Deutsche Bank. I didn't interview with them. They didn't like me. So I don't know, maybe I'm just being spiteful. But at least at Susquehanna, pretty darn well-regarded option shop that basically would eat their lunch with all due respect. See, in addition to training us to uphold the laws, in fact, they had this guy, Joel, leave his last name out since they like their privacy. But I remember before we were given the opportunity to actually touch any of the money, he scared the living God out of us one day of the consequences. Reminded me of my father, which is why I don't need any extra pressure to stay within the rules. Apparently, on a tangent again, Here you see Deutsche Bank. Actually, I'm sorry. Look at me. I'm tired. It's a little bit late. UBS. There's two banks here, which I guess that would be, let's see, what's
And I bet you that 11:30 is European time, because that would coincide with the 2 a.m. New York crushing, which would be typically the
well, we'll
AM
see.
fix.
First of all, in terms of conspiracy theories, I guess we'll look up what is conspiracy. Act of conspiring together. So I guess would that apply if you have UBS and Deutsche Bank, which are supposed to be separate entities trading, serving their customers, right?
So it seems more like a conspiracy reality to me.
So let's do some role playing. Do you want to be UBS trader A or Deutsche Bank trader B?
I'll be A. Bro, let's make a slight adjustment to our plan today.
K, bro.
Depending upon where the mark is, we go short around 11:30 a.m. I make sure to let you know if I do something.
Okay, bro. Thanks for announcing that on the chat. I'm definitely going short, lol.
Lol, revenge, huh? That's what's driving you.
Andy, I'm getting bored already. I know the audience is like, come on, it's late. Let's cut to the
You got almost
stuff.
done, man.
So here you see UBS. They're talking about going short between 11 to 11:30. I don't know. Here is the chart. This was August 5th, 2011, when a lot of people, Andy, maybe you can talk about what your customers were doing in the year 2011. That's after silver had hit $50 early in the year. I think a lot. I bought silver because I heard Ben Bernanke was launching QE2. I was concerned about the money printing, and here looks like they were. Let's go short around 11 to 11:30. Yeah, maybe they stopped for lunch. Right here at 12 o'clock, you see silver drop. Okay, actually at 11:30, silver is $42. And if these frat boys decide to go short, stop a lot of people out there. So if somebody has a lot of silver and it drops $3 in a couple of hours because Deutsche Bank trader B and UBS trader A are saying all that.
Yeah, he calls it the 11 o'clock rule. And look how it does nearly the exact same thing, the next day on the 5th also. Same time, just to finish it off.
How do you think your customers feel about that?
I don't know how many of them really understand it well enough, but if they did see that,
How do you think they'd feel if they were watching this right now?
Yeah, I think everyone who owns even an ounce of silver ought to be infuriated. Anyone who believes in free markets ought to be pissed off.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it makes me feel cheated. My whole life, the last 31 years, has been spent trying to do the right thing in this industry. And when you see that, it's an uphill battle you continue to have to fight. And it's gross the way they laugh and mock and revenge when what that could really be talking about are so many people's livelihoods, from an individual investor all the way down to a miner in a pit in South Africa. The whole thing is gross.
Well, if any of your clients pretty disgusted about it as I am, or it sounds like you are, they're tired of the CFTC harassing the victims of the crime, but they're interested in hearing more about some of the evidence, or aside from some of the conversations with a bunch of different legal groups I had today, then may want to tune in tomorrow night.
You're doing a great job.